Welcome to the virtual Stab Comedy Theater. It's time for the Suzette Veneti Show. Please welcome to your screen, Suzette Veneti.
Hey everybody, it's Suzette Veneti. It's 7:11. We started late because I wore green, and I can't wear green, so that's why. How you doing tonight? It's Sunday, July 26th. That makes 5 days left of July, which means 5 days left before unemployment stops at that $600 a week. So here's hoping that changes, or the world goes back to normal in 5 days, whichever comes first. Let's get the show going. But first, I want to take a minute and I want to talk about Stab Comedy Theater, where I am. It's a great place to be. And they let us do this show here every week. And they have a lot of other shows. So if you're ever bored any day of the week, chances are Stab is airing something, because that's what they do. There's programming 7 days a week right now during COVID, making sure that you can always have something. Sometimes it's this show, and if it's me, it's like, I wish she'd get to the guest, because I've seen her before. But there's always something going on, and it's always great. And so I just wanted to let you know, because the Sacramento News and Review is doing a COVID hero, pandemic hero. Go to snr.com, and you can find out what it's called. Or you can go to my Facebook, and I linked it today. So I just want to tell everyone, you should vote for Stab Comedy Theater, and you should vote for Jesse Jones, the producer of my show and the owner and proprietor, that sounds fancy, of Stab Comedy Theater, because without him, we couldn't do this show, and there wouldn't be other great shows happening from Stab. So go vote, and I'm telling you, because I wanted to. So, all right, now we can go with the show. Do any of you guys have that boyfriend who forgets about your birthday or Christmas or Passover, and then he feels dumb and he thinks to himself, like, well, I have a whole year before the next one, the next birthday, Christmas, or Passover, so I have time to get a gift for her. But then he still doesn't do it, and he puts it off, and he puts it off, and he puts it off, and he waits until the night before, and then he freaks out, and he tries to do something huge, like planning and buying a vacation overnight. That's the NFL. NFL, you had 5 months to prepare for the season during COVID. Everyone else had to stop their season or stop their preseason. You just finished yours, silly. All you had to do is plan, and you didn't. Now the season's about to start, and the NFL is installing 2 bottles of hand sanitizer in every locker room and saying, "We good, babe? We good?" Players are obviously more concerned about their safety than the teams are. This is the NFL, a league that celebrates, penalizes, and monetizes the players giving each other brain damage. So the players are smart, and they're asking for protection and guidelines and any kind of plan, really, from the league. But they're ending every plea with the hashtag we want to play, knowing full well this is the same league that routinely throws them under the bus when given the chance. This would be like the same boyfriend who forgets about your birthday so often that it's just clear that he doesn't actually care, and eventually you just have to realize that he might just not be into you, or he might just be into you while you're a certain age, but then as soon as you get past that certain age, he's probably going to upgrade for a younger model. Happens. Relatable, right? And so, players, keep looking out for yourselves and just be strong like Rose in the Titanic. And remember, it's better to be the whore of a man who loves you than the wife of a man who would replace you. Saying that from experience. Dr. Fauci threw out the first pitch at the Nationals home opener in D.C. A friend of mine was nervous that Trump would fire him because throwing out the first pitch in D.C. is usually what the president does. But I said to my friend, why would that bother Trump? He doesn't do anything that POTUSes usually do. Trump will fire Fauci because that's what Trump does. He fires people. He had a whole show, and his catchphrase was, "You're fired." In other news from Capitol Hill this week, Florida man verbally accosted Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, leading her to calmly, intelligently, and confidently stand up for herself. Florida man mumbled some nonsense about having a wife and daughter. It's just too bad that Florida daughter has such a terrible male role model. 2 guns were found in a diaper bag at Disney World. This is wildly different than what you're used to expecting when you hear somebody's packing heat in a diaper bag. Two children knocked over a model of Cinderella's castle made of glass, valued at over $65,000, that took more than 500 hours to complete, destroying the glass sculpture. When questioned, the children asked, "Why does something like that even exist?" Also, the diaper bag lady from the joke right before, she's offered to stand in as armed guard and protect any glass sculptures as long as they give her back her .45 caliber pistols. Staying at Disney World, on Friday, an expletive-filled verbal altercation was heard all over the park, proving that if you try hard enough, we can be heard through our masks. Disney guests from the entrance of the Pirates of the Caribbean attraction in Adventureland all the way to the Liberty Tree Tavern in Liberty Square, as far as the Big Thunder Mountain Railroad and as wide as Big Pecos Bill Telltale Inn and the cafe in Frontierland, could hear, according to one guest, a man screaming in a woman's face. That's crazy. Representative Yoho of Florida was getting around this week. In somber news, prolific television personality Regis Philbin passed away on Friday of natural causes. So let's all take a few moments to play Who Wants to Grieve a Millionaire? In all seriousness, though, he was one of the few TV icons with minimal controversies, and he never once tried to leverage his game show hosting into a presidential candidacy. Taylor Swift dropped a new surprise album this week. But what was funny was that she did it on the same day that Kanye was planning on dropping an album called Donda with Child. Swift's album, which debuted at number 1, is titled, "Yo Kanye, I'm really happy for you. I'm gonna let you finish running for president, even though it seems reckless, and maybe please don't." Her single from that album topping the charts is Kanye West Doesn't Care About Black People. Kanye's birthday party, platform, seriously, that's the platform party that he's running for president under. Kanye's birthday party has a new agenda, an economic stimulus where Yeezy wants to give everyone $1 million if they have a baby. This is wrong for so many reasons, but mostly, like, do you remember the kid in like junior high and high school who ran for student council, and he promised things like, "No school, I'm canceling school once I'm president of student council"? That kid couldn't do that, and Yeezy can't do this. So just think about it, because if you vote for like his Royal Yee, you thought he was going to go by President West? Come on. If you vote for his Royal Yee, he's going to say he'll do things like that, but then he won't. It makes me miss the old Kanye. I miss the old Kanye. Music and clothes Kanye. I hate the new Kanye. The off his meds Kanye. The running for prez Kanye. Spaz in the news Kanye. I gotta say at the time, I'd like to meet Kanye. I miss the sweet Kanye. Chop up the beats Kanye. See, he invented Kanye. It wasn't any Kanye's, and now I look around and pray that no one votes for Kanye. We used to love Kanye. I used to love Kanye. Came from nothing through the wire. We could all be Kanye. What if Kanye got some help that actually helped Kanye? He could write an album about mental health and recovery. Man, that would be so Kanye. This isn't making fun of Kanye. Please don't run, Kanye. Election 2020 is important, so please stay home and just recover and don't fuck this up, Kanye. Okay, cool. That's all from me. Let's get right to one of my favorite contributors, one of my favorite people, one of my favorite comics. In Real World, you should catch him at his real shows. In COVID World, make sure you check out his edited videos on YouTube called In the Meantime. Let's hear it, peers and queers, for Mean Dave.
Ooh, hey, hello.
Hey, Mean Dave.
Good to see you.
You too.
As you know, I wasn't here I was here in pre-recorded form, speaking with, if I'm breaking any fourth walls here for any of your viewers, I sincerely apologize. But sometimes in this world of technology, we can't be at all places at all times. And so thanks to technology, we were able to give a movie review while I was also simultaneously somewhere else at the exact same time. But it's been a strange week, mainly because it got kicked off with, from that very Sunday, something a little awkward. I was invited to go watch a movie outdoors in a social distance gathering, and then we finish up, and then I asked if I may use the bathroom, to which my friend said, use my other friend's bathroom, who was one of the friends watching the movie. And then they kind of had a hesitation. And then she was, oh, why don't you just pee out here? And that's where they have another neighbor who has dogs who pees out back. I've never gotten indignant about. I'm somebody who used to pee outdoors as a matter of principle. Just, if I had to pee anywhere, I peed pretty much. I was like the Where's Waldo of public urination. Like I could be anywhere right in front of you peeing right now, and you wouldn't even know it. But for some reason, being both sober and everything else, you start having feelings and shit and whatever. And the thing that was kind of annoying me was the fact that my friend invited me over, knowing full well that people, imbibe and bladders get full, and somebody might have to take a piss. And so granted, I asked if I could use the bathroom. So when you ask a question like that, people aren't used to hearing the word no. Actually, that's probably why we have the rise in Karens during the age of the masks right now, is because people are being told, no, you can't do something. And then they start getting, how dare you? And then all the droplets are flying out their mouth and trying to, exercise their freedoms and shit. But it was strange because this was my friend. And that was when I kind of was, oddly enough, I rarely get prideful and indignant, and this was one of those times where after basically they suggested that, I said, you know what, I'm just going to hold it till I get home, and then they both were changing their tune, like, oh no, if you want to use the bathroom, da, da, da. I'm like, no, because I already got the first inclination that dirty, mean Dave it might be carrying COVID.
They were scared of your plume.
The plume, exactly. I've spoken about. I wasn't going to take a dump, though. I mean, that was the thing. It's all in the urine. And so, but it was just one of those things where I ended up giving my friend the silent treatment, because she invited me to go. She picked me up. I live like a half hour away from her. She picked me up, drove me all the way to her place. We're out in the backyard. We watched High Anxiety, which was a good movie. Not my favorite Mel Brooks movie, but I'd never seen it. It was funny. And part of me also was kind of like, maybe I should stay home. Like, I have these things happen lately where it's like, I have, my first instinct is no. And then I do the thing, and then something happens that then makes me wish, I'm like, I should have just stuck with no. I don't know why I didn't do it. It happened to me last night. And playing Pictionary, and I was like, I shouldn't play Pictionary because it gets kind of loud with me and my friends and whatever. And it's kind of quiet right now. We have kind of a somber moment going on in my household, and so lo and behold, I played, and then I got my head chewed out later, and but in the end, it was just so at my friend's house, we ended up back in the car, and then not only that, as always happens when things are awkward and quiet and tense, because she's again driving me all the way back home. I don't drive, and it's a matter of principle. Because if I drive, I'm gonna get drunk and get high. It's just how it is. And so we end up in the car, and then 5 minutes out, she realizes she left her phone at home, and then she's like, "Is it okay if I go home and get my phone?" I'm like, "What am I gonna say? No? Like, I wasn't allowed to use your bathroom. Now you're asking me if it's okay to go on without your phone. Go home and get your fucking phone."
You could have bargained. That you could have been like, "Sure, as long as I can use the bathroom."
Yeah, well, no, I wasn't about to bargain at this point. Again, it was the indignant aspect. It was because then after the and this is something my recovery programs taught me, is if I'm in those zones, don't say anything. And my silence speaks volumes more than anything else. So I end up having this long, 25-minute ride home, and then of course she breaks the silence, apologizing, whatever. I said, "It's fine. I understand." I said, "Here's the thing, though. If you're not comfortable with people using your bathroom, it's probably not a good idea to have people over your house, even in the back fucking yard. Just if you're going to be that uptight about it, because, I mean, you're going to be concerned about." I also brought over food that they ate, which I was like, well, if the dirty person's not good enough to pee in the bath, it was this one. And it wasn't even meant that way. It was just, my friend caught herself, because she hates the show Girls with who's the main chick from that show?
Lena Dunham?
Yeah, she hates Lena Dunham. And so my biggest like just the I can totally get under her skin with the worst what do you call those, sliver. Just call it, like, said, this is you're having a Lena Dunham moment, and I wasn't about to even call that on her right there because I knew she felt bad and all that shit. But it's fun to hold that level of tension over somebody. I forgot about the good silent treatment. I wish more people employed it these days, especially because that's just one of those things these days. Everybody's so loud. Everybody's well, I can't wear a mask in here. Well, blah 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 blah. Just or whatever. Everybody's just so mad at each other, and they always just gotta be loud and shit. I'm like, whatever happened? Just a good old fashioned silent treatment. Just shut the fuck up and let their insecurities play out, and then you'll see it, man. They all get all scared and paranoid, and they just hope they aren't armed, because that's when school shooter types act and all that. But yeah, so I guess people are going back and protesting, which I think is good. Get some of that pent up energy, and obviously in the name of Black Lives Mattering and stuff like that. But I hope people are kind of losing the focus on all that. I've been seeing some strange stories here and there that are uplifting and all that, but also there's people getting hurt and stuff. There was a guy who just got shot and killed in Austin, and unfortunately he also brought a gun too. And I don't know if you have a gun, and I think he meant well, but he pointed it at the person who shot him, and so it's a very confusing time right now. I don't know. I'm not. I understand that people have all that. This is why I stay home, and it isn't just the COVID that's keeping me home. It's really just stay home. Less chance of getting shot in my bedroom. Still a chance, mind you, but less. And so yeah. But other than that, it's just been another wacky, dumb week, because nobody's going to be doing anything to curb the COVID numbers anytime soon. And so if anybody's watching this in the rest of the world, I want to just congratulate you. You won't have any Americans visiting you for at least a fucking year, and I'm sure you can celebrate that shit. So, but I think that's about it from me. How about you there, Suzette? You doing all right?
I'm okay. It was a long week. It felt like
Warm?
a longer week than it has lately. I don't know if that was just me or everybody.
Well, it's global warming, because that's another way that's why it's like, if we do resolve all of these issues, it's going to be kind of like, a little too late, because we're all going to be drowned soon anyway, unless we grow some gills along with our spiritual principles. So, fingers crossed.
Something. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I have a wetsuit, so like if it starts flooding, we can
need
still
more
do
than
the
a
show.
wetsuit. I mean, it's gonna have to rediscover fire underwater, like that kind of shit. There's a lot of things that ain't gonna, our land loving ain't gonna hold up underwater. I haven't seen Waterworld yet. Maybe I'll check that out.
I heard it's not good.
I've heard it's not bad.
Oh.
I mean, I just saw the movie Captain Ron for the first time. That's the Kurt Russell movie where he plays Captain Ron, the title character, and where I was encouraged to see it. I'm a fan of 80s comedies that are not the greatest. I love Kurt Russell, but I missed Captain Ron, and I realized why. That movie came out in 1992. I was in high school, full-on metalhead, into experimental music. I'm not watching some family comedy bullshit, that I would have enjoyed more in the 80s in 1992. I was a serious sophomore going on a junior in high school. And so I missed that one. And then my buddy, friend of mine, comedian and friend Mike Bucci, he kept quoting Captain Ron, and I didn't know what he was talking about. And he goes, "You haven't seen Captain Ron?" And I'm like, no, I haven't. And he goes, "Oh, you got to see Captain Ron." And he's been on a 3-month campaign for me to see Captain Ron. Well, I asked him to hook me up with a movie, Machete Kills, and while he was doing that, he goes, "Well, in order to get Machete Kills, you're gonna have to watch Captain Ron." So he threw Captain Ron in, and I watched it, and surprisingly, I really enjoyed. I think I wouldn't have enjoyed this when I was a younger man, and I really enjoyed it. Plan to watch it again probably tonight. Martin Short's in it. I forgot he was in it, but he plays the straight man. He's not like because normally Martin Short's kind of like kooky character. Mm-hmm. But Kurt Russell plays a lot of people who know this movie, they quote Captain Ron. He's very funny. like one of the lines, whatever happens here is going to happen out there. That's his excuse for taking a boat out too early and shit. And like I love some of the other lines, boat's like a woman, responds to touch, shit like that, just makes you laugh. But the thing that I noticed was the story was kind of weird, and I learned why, because they didn't write the movie to be centered around Captain Ron. This was one of those movies where they shot it, and then they realized Kurt Russell's character was so strong, and then they edited it to make Captain Ron appear like he was the wise advisor who kind of like was pulling the strings without them knowing to like help their family unite, when in fact really the movie more or less was just a family, like kind of like Vacation, where it was a family dealing with a bunch of screwball adventures in getting this boat, and then Captain Ron was just one of the characters. And so but Kurt Russell was so good in his role that they ended up just re-editing it to make it look like he was this wise advisor, because there's some parts in there that like he breaks his leg and he's faking it and there's no excuse for it. Like, I don't know why he did that shit, and like some other shit, but in the end he helps Martin Short learn to be a better dad, and the family comes together. All that 80s bullshit that like creeped over into the 90s. But in the end, it was still a good movie. I love a good shitty movie, and Kurt Russell is the man. And so it was nice to find an undiscovered gem, or a discovered but undiscovered in my world gem. And so I got into that. So that was a high point of the week, if there is anything. Captain Ron, check it out if you haven't. So
It's been about 28 years since I've seen it, so I might have to refresh.
Yeah, check it out. Check it out again. Yeah, it is strange. Like, it just seeing Kurt Russell and some of the. I love how he gives a kid a beer. I mean, you don't see those kinds of things in movies today. He was like, he's playing with like a 10-year-old kid, and he's like he tells the kid he can't take his beer because that's his beer. He's like, get your own beer. And then he gives the kid gets a beer, and then later on when they're settling up for their gambling game, he goes, oh yeah, you owe me $2.50 for the beer. And I was like, that's a man after my heart right there, man. Don't just tell a kid he can have a beer. Make sure he pays, his dues.
I'm kind of still stuck on how a boat is like a woman. I'm like, don't go below deck unless it's your boat.
Oh, the boat, but the thing is he says it when he's kind of creeping on Martin Short's wife.
Right.
He's like standing behind her and helping her direct. He's like, boat's like a woman, responds to touch, and like it's just a nice creepy line.
Oh no, I know. I was just thinking of other lines, and he should actually, Captain Ron should heed my line. Like, that's not his boat. Don't go below deck.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. All right.
I don't know.
Cool.
Fun concept. Come up with the sails on that one.
It would work. I can see it working.
All right. I'll check it out.
Right on.
Thanks,
Yes,
me,
please
Dave.
do. And anybody else who's watching, check it out. Captain Ron.
Captain Ron.
That'll pick up your shitty week. So.
Well, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. See you later.
I'll see you soon.
Peers and Queers, that was Mean Dave. His information was on the screen below him. Send him some coin. And if you want to send Stab Comedy Theater some coin, it's right above my head. You can do that. And with that, let me get to this intro that I wrote like a professional host. Going to bring on my interview guest for the night. This Portland comedian started his stand-up comedy career in 2016 after winning the prestigious 41st Annual International San Francisco Comedy Competition. He's entertained the troops, was a finalist in the Hollywood Laugh Factory's International Donald Trump Impersonator Contest, and is 2018's champion of the Hard Rock Casino's annual comedy cage match. You can see him on the Netflix series Trinkets Inside Edition, Amazon Prime, The Simple Life, Season 5, TNT's Leverage, NBC's Grimm, as well as heard regularly in XM Radio. That would be the Raw Dog Comedy Channel. You can catch him live and in person in Sacramento on August 28th to the 30th at Laughs Unlimited Comedy Club, or you can find him online on his webpage, which is literally his name and then .com. And you have a choice of variety of content. Peers and Queers, Alex Elkin.
Hi.
Hey, Alex, how are you?
Well, I'm doing great. You look beautiful.
Thank you. You look great too.
Well, thank you. I have been gaining weight. This COVID thing ain't no joke.
It's serious.
They mentioned the side effects of death. There's been like 130,000 deaths, but if they count the pounds, 130,000 ain't shit.
Do you think it's like?
I mean, alone, I know I've contributed a percentage. In fact, I knew that I wasn't actually on camera, so I've been eating out of a bag of chocolate chips. And I mean, this is real shit. This is a bag of dehydrated marshmallows that I bought off Amazon because I'm a fat kid in a fat man's body. Because I've always wanted to be able to just buy a box of Lucky Charms where Lucky was like, oh shit, we ran out of oats. Yeah, what a shame. It looks as though we're going to have to fill it up with nothing but fucking dehydrated sugar and horseshoes and Lucky Stars and Purple Hearts and diabetes machines and all sorts of and new pancreases and yellow livers and white sugar. Anyway, so that's
go
that's
ahead.
what I've been doing for the pandemic.
Yeah. See, I'm still on camera and it's bikini season, so I've been working out. But every now and then I'm like, no, I'm going to eat that whole pan of brownies right now. So, I get it.
Thank you. Well, I'm going to assume that was positive stuff. I'm having trouble hearing you on the Zoom side here because I think you're picking up the sound from the overall speaker. And so everything is really muffled. So I'm trying to read your lips, but your hair is so beautiful. I usually don't do shows, Suzette, with people with more beautiful hair than me.
Oh.
So I know it's in my rider. And somehow you got around that shit. And then you bring on Mean Dave. It's like, why don't you just, if like we were in person, just take me around back and kick me in the nuts? Because, I mean, look at this. You get you get a fucking Barbie doll, with my golden locks. If my locks were golden, and then you get Mean Dave, who's like, he's living the life that I'm trying to look like I live. You know what I mean? Plus, he's my fucking goal weight. So, I mean, I'm already the fattest fucking guy here. I don't know if I should have. Where's my manager? I would like to talk. Who booked this? I'm in my underwear right now, and I have no shame about it. The thing is, if I got up to swat a fly, I could literally get you shut off of Twitter right now for a week. With my underwear. Because I've had the underwear longer than the pandemic. I've had this underwear since before my oldest was born, and he's about to get his driver's license. I should not be going anywhere in these tantarans, because if I stood up and just gonna get it, it would be like tantaran. So we're not gonna do that.
Stay seated.
Hey, that's so much better.
Oh, okay, good.
I will. Listen, those are two words you really never have to tell a fat guy. Stay seated. No problem, lady. I'll be right here. You bring the donuts to me. I prefer chopsticks because I don't want to have to get up and wash my hands. I can only lick them so hard.
Well, what else is in your rider? So that way when I do have you in person, so
chilled Fiji water.
Okay.
Straight from the source, okay? Because I'm sick of this Dasani shit where they're just dipping plastic bottles into the Ganges. You know what you're doing. You're completely fucking with your ancestors, and you know it. You're bringing shame and hot coals upon your family's name. Stop it. In the name of Coca-Cola. Fiji water never touched by human hands. It's like a Papa John's pizza. Did you see Papa John's? They've gone with a touchless system. Not like Pizza Hut that's like, nah, we still rub our balls all over your pepperoni. Hey! So I've heard.
Yeah, so Fiji water, no Mean Dave, someone fatter, and I'll wrap my hair out.
So you did get my rider. What the fuck is this? Where's my agent?
Well, it's not in person, so I can, pretend I didn't. But in person, I'll adhere to everything.
Well, I don't know about you, but I don't like pretending. I'm somebody I'm not.
What have you been up to during the pandemic besides eating diabetes feed?
Are you fucking kidding me? Now, I don't know if you know, mutual friend of ours, David Shapiro?
I do.
Yeah, he's a comedian. Well, he probably used to be. See, asking me that is like asking a fucking CEO of Enron, what you been up to? Nothing. Since March 14th, nothing.
That's not true.
There's nothing going on. You know, I mean, you might as well just ask black folks what's happening after Katrina. How you guys doing? We're fucking drowning. It's bullshit right now for comedians. So, I mean, I don't know if David has told you, but that's a loaded question that kind of makes comics. I don't want to use the word triggered, but it trumps us.
Okay.
I would like to say, though, I've kept myself busy.
That's what I'm talking about.
My wife wanted a fairy garden in the backyard. So I've always kind of wanted it Disney themed. And so I started building this scale model of the Matterhorn that they have at Disney. And I've got little elements on it and it's all painted up. And I'm going to put it on a pond with a waterfall. And it's just going to be a nice place, a nice feature in the backyard. So I did that. I built this luxurious studio. And I've been streaming on Twitch, much like yourself. And you know what I did? I recorded a new album. You're looking at the title right here. Alex Elkin, Retarded with Extra Steps. And it's recorded in somebody's backyard in Grants Pass, Oregon. We got about 60 people there. They were all socially distanced. Everybody had their masks. Nobody was infected. Except with fucking laughter, baby. Anyway, we got a great recording out of it. Got the CD. The CD's available. It's going to break very soon on all your platforms where you can get it. And so that's what I've been doing. I've been keeping myself relevant and busy, selling my CDs, signing them, getting them out to people, and just dealing with my kids in the house alone.
How many?
Oh, God, I don't even know anymore. It's just been months. It's been months, Suzette.
Have you added or lost any?
I know I've got three of them. Now, the oldest one, I told you, he's 15. He's actually industrious. I told him the other day, this is a true story. I told him, look, you can do three things today. One of three things at least. You can do something good for the house. You can do something good for your body, break a sweat. Or you can go out and try and earn some money. This kid went out there, 3 out of 3, knocked it out of the park. Went out, went jogging, got picked up by a cougar, picked up $75 for eating her out. It was amazing. I was so proud of him. Really, really good use of what his father's taught him out there on the road. His old man told him, don't just be a cunning linguist. I have a 13-year-old. He's the middle kid. I haven't seen him in months. We don't pay attention to him, frankly. He's the middle kid, right?
It's middle kids.
And then we got the 4-year-old. Now, the 4-year-old is the toughest to deal with during all of this because, you can only, Disney's only made 100 and some odd movies you can put her in front of before finally it's like, okay, I've seen Air Bud's balls enough times to say I'm done. These angels are in the way outfield. I'm in the outhouse because this movie's bullshit. And so she's wondering why she can't go outside and play with her friends. She wants to go to the park. She wants to go hang out, do what 4-year-olds do. She wants to go, take the dog. We got a big bloodhound named Cornbread. She was asking me the other night while we were going to bed, why can't we go to the park? And I thought I had to think about it because, how do you explain it to a 4-year-old? Do you have any, does anybody, I don't know if Dave has any kids or Suzette, if you're thinking about having kids or if you have any kids.
No, I don't have any. I don't have any kids, but I have some friends that have like a 6-year-old, and they just said there's sickness going around, and we don't have it, but we want to contribute to keeping everyone else from getting it. So for the next couple months, we're going to stay home as much as we can, and if we do go out, we're going to wear masks because that helps stop the sickness from spreading. That's what that's just brilliant, Suzette. I wish I'd talked to you earlier because, at least, when you say you've got friends who have a 6-year-old, that must be the benefit of having, I don't know who these friends are, but I'm assuming they're just a conglomerative group of people that have collected a 6-year-old and have decided to raise it.
And so when you've got that many people, I don't know how many people are in the group of raising this child, but when you got that many people, there's bound to be some great ideas bounced off of each other, and they're going to come forward with something straight. Me, I just had my dumbass brain, so I told her, listen, you remember when we were talking about the boogeyman that lived under your bed and the scary monster that was in your closet? And we talked about it, and we looked, and we found out that those things aren't real. We just need to understand that those were in our imagination, and they're not going to get us. Well, sweetie, there's a deadly virus that lives under your bed and in your closet, in your blankets, on your brother's face, in our lives. It could kill cornbread. It could kill your brothers. It could kill your mama and papa. You could wake up alone tomorrow. Why, there'd be nobody here to feed you or clothe you. You'd just be wandering around trying to survive and get by. And then eventually somebody would just come and take you. And how would you be able to say no? Would you be able to explain to them that this is not the way to go? And I mean, we have guns, but do you know how to work them? How do you even load a rifle? Can you even shoot a man? Do you know what shooting a man in passion feels like? So, sweetie, that's why we can't go to the park.
So did you then teach her how to load a gun?
Well,
just to prepare her,
yeah.
just in case.
Yeah. The problem is, the 45 is really heavy. So we're getting her started on the 22. It's just a lot longer. And so I got her lifting about 15 pounds every day. Got her blasting her quads. Got her on a little bit of estrogen, just to, strengthen her up. Hey, she's going to get it anyway, right?
Yeah.
And strict regimen of NyQuil and cigarettes. And she's doing just fine. She's doing great. A lot of parents gave their kids booze back in the day, and I don't believe in that. I think, we should give them something legal like NyQuil, Robitussin, Tamoxifen. Well, they don't have any hair.
Back to your oldest kid, you described what I've always called an Oregonian bar mitzvah. Congrats, mazel tov to him for making $75.
Yeah, normally in Oregon, you do it by screwing a beaver. But you know what? I guess in the same way, that's kind of what he did. So.
I can't top that. So you have done stuff, even though you said nothing. You have been streaming, and you put out a new CD. Being a parent's not nothing. Tell me about Network One.
So Network One is imagine if you walked onto the Warner Brothers studio lot. If you popped your head into certain sound stages, you'd find, old time scenes and modern scenes and Western scenes, and everybody having their niche and what they're trying to put out there as entertainment to the public. Well, Network One allows all those people to do that virtually and in one spot. And we've created our own, sound stages. We have things called niche cons, where we focus on certain elements of pop culture, society, music, art, anything that interests a certain group of people. And we delve into it, and we have people share what they have. And then we get into people's homes and lives, because that's what we're doing right now. And so we're sharing memories and making new ones by sharing the old ones, because we can't gather and get together. And this time, the first one, we dove into the warm waters of Disney, because who doesn't love Disney? And, maybe, I don't know if everybody loves Disney, but a lot of people do. And so we got those people together, and we gathered them together for what we call the Tales from the Kingdom Niche Con. And we got together with old memories. We brought some Disney legends together, and just had a fun little weekend where we played games online and just brought back old memories. It was a lot of fun. And another element we do is what we call walkumentaries. I mean, imagine being able to walk through the old parts of LA and it coming alive before you, and you being explained to, hey, did you know the Comedy Store used to be an old nightclub called Ciro's, where they would play jazz, and it was a front for the mob. And, there was all these great stories that aren't there anymore, and we don't know them because a lot of them don't care. Because, hey, are they going to be putting in a new Trader Joe's, or where am I going to get my organic goat cheese? And we have programming that people can watch Earth 2020. Imagine if different people we call them people, but imagine if different characters got together on a Zoom meeting like this and started talking about the series finale of Earth, because this shit is burning to hell and they're just watching from the outside. We got Bigfoot, we got aliens, we got a gnome, we got a styrofoam head guy. We've got all kinds of great characters. And then I've been working on character animation. Have you seen some of my Zooms? We got some really great characters there. We got Shrunken Ned. We have one of the statues from the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland. We've got the Tiki Room birds. We've got a Donald Trump cartoon character that we can do in real time.
Oh.
And it's a fun character to animate. He's very animated. He's got his hands, his hair flops around. He sounds terrific. And we take live phone calls and we give people great advice, terrific advice, the best advice, believe me.
Yeah.
So that's what we've been doing. That's what Network One's pretty much all about.
You've been very busy. So what's the next mini con? Because the Disney one, I'm sure a lot of my viewers probably wish they could have seen that. So hopefully they did. But what's the next one?
The next one's really cool because it's kind of geared towards entertainers. It's called Now Casting. And it's it's an hour-long, basically Zoom meeting with Joe Kolkowitz, the owner of Players Talent Agency out of Encino, California. He carries a lot of the talent for commercial television and film. And he's telling us that, look, he just booked, in fact, when we did the recording, he booked his first 2 commercials that he had in months because people are getting back to work. Hollywood is getting back to work. Just because the clubs are closing doesn't mean comics have to stop working. And so I've got Joe. I've got the general manager from Brad Garrett's Comedy Club joined us, Cindy Nelson. I've got Pat Wilson, who's an international comedy booker, took me to Iraq. And we're all getting together and we're talking about, here's the changes that are happening. Here's why you don't have to be scared. Here's what you need to think of and do and move forward in the future. And I got to tell you, Suzette, you're doing just what we're talking about. You're creating your own content. You're not waiting for the gatekeeper to say, yes, hello, we'll schedule a meeting with you, possibly on Wednesday at 1 p.m. No. You're creating what you want to do. People who want to watch it will find you, and you just keep plugging away, and you will find your monicum or hopefully your giant pearl of success. That's what comics need to do. If you're an entertainer and you've got a cell phone and you've got a computer and you call yourself a comic or an entertainer, what are you doing? Why don't you have your own TV show? I remember sitting there watching Carson, watching, all the lame sitcoms growing up and thinking that should be me. Well, now it can be. You've got the simplest thing of Zoom where you can put any background behind you want in the world. You can dress up however you want. You can create whatever scene you want. And you can be and do what you dreamed as a young person now. And if you're not doing it, well, then shame on you and good luck changing oil at the Jiffy Lube. But for me and my brethren that love and sisterin that love comedy, we're going to keep plugging away at this because it's not stopping. It's changing.
That's something that I talk about with my interview guests and I think this is the 14th week we've had a show. So we've had probably a lot of comics that from down here in Northern California. But the medium, as long as people can do stuff still, but you have to adjust for the medium because a lot of people they do the same thing that they would do live, and it's not the same medium, so it doesn't work as well.
No, and the crazy thing, Suzette, as I spent the last 20 years trying to become a professional stand-up comedian, I was getting to the point where I was a draw, at least in the state that I lived and in my surrounding area. I was getting into the cruise industry, so I was starting to make a living to where I could say no to the crappy gigs because I'm getting a paycheck from this great gig that I only have to do once a week. It was starting to really work. I was getting auditions for major television commercials, and everything got swept away. And I'm sure there's a lot of comics who can say that same story and feel the way I feel. I know how they felt. And what I found is if I didn't grab on to what was changing and try to get myself a footing and a grapple hold, I was going to get run over by it. And we have to adjust. We have to, like a flock of birds, change what we need to do. And it's very difficult because I spent those years not just being funny, but I had to go up and find an audience. I had to read that audience and know, who am I talking to here? Are we talking to blue collar workers? Are we talking to white collar workers? Are we talking to liberals? Are we talking to Republicans? Are we talking to this kind of group or that kind of group? And by that way I knew of how to read people, I could perform my set and get it going towards them. Now I'm performing for this little green dot right here, and I have no idea if what my shit is saying is working or not. I have no feedback. I have no idea if what I'm doing you're liking. And so you're forced to just either keep going or say, fuck it, I quit. And I've been doing this too long to sit in a cubicle. So I created my own studio, and I do it at home now. And I book my little side gigs. I do my backyard shows, and I do the shows where, you know, hey, we'll get 99 people in here, which as long as they promise to wear masks or whatever it is. I got to work. I got a family to feed. I got 5 people that are counting on me to put bread on this table. And I know how to sell me, and I know how to sell comedy. And I want to help out other people. I want to give them not just a fish, but teach them how. I know that what you're doing is difficult as hell. It really is. Getting the sound right, getting everything situated. What I'm looking at it on Twitch with your overlay, that didn't just happen. That happened because you got a team, or you know what you're doing and you put it all together and it looks great.
Not me.
Okay?
I
mean, it does.
Yeah.
It does.
Oh, it does.
And
It
I've
really
got-
does. That's Jesse. That's my producer.
Well,
and
Jesse,
owner of
kudos
Stab.
to you, my friend, because you did a great job and it looks great on this end. I'm looking at it on Twitch as well. So if people want to do that, they need to realize that that takes work. It's not a lot of money. You can do it with not a lot of money at least, but it takes a lot of work. And if you don't know how to do that, that's what I want to do. I don't know if you ever heard of Maimonides, but Maimonides was a philosopher, and he's the one that told us about the 8 levels of charity. And there was one thing that he said at the final level of charity. The 8th level was, and we all know it, that if you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. If you teach a man to fish, he'll eat for the rest of his life. Well, I want to bring comics up to the point where you can go and make a living and be a comedian, whether or not everybody's heard of you or nobody's heard of you, just because you've got a computer and you've got a cell phone and you want to do it. That's all you need, especially, you know, with the freedoms we have here. Go do it. And I have the tools. I know how to do it. I've been doing it for 20 years. I'm just having to change my game and perform for this green light versus performing for a live audience.
Speaking of that, so you mentioned that you found your rhythm and you found your crowd, and you knew how to read the crowd. That's something that you know, as comics we all have to do. And then I also have one of my stiletto feet in the drag world. Same thing. You have to read the crowd. You have to know this crowd's gonna. Sometimes you have to call an audible with your song. This crowd is not gonna like this song. I better do this other song. It's gonna relate better with them. You know, lip sync wise. Now, like you said, we're performing to a green dot, or I have a webcam in front of me, but it looks like I'm talking to you. And when I did my monologue, that was an adjustment period for me to figure, like, to just find the timing. I don't know if what I'm saying is funny. I don't know if anyone laughed at my Kanye rap, you know, but I just have to go with it. You have been doing this so long. Did you find that it was an easier adjustment period, or did it take you a little bit as well?
We're still swimming in the waters trying to keep our head above it. So, you know, I couldn't tell you. I would love to see my numbers grow, but, you know, it comes with consistency, just like comedy. And Jerry Seinfeld was talking with Brian Regan during an episode of getting coffee with them in some car or whatever. And what I picked from it was really cool was, it doesn't matter who you are. It really doesn't even matter if you're funny. If you stick with this business long enough, you will find a monicum of success. And so, you know, maybe I was finding my monicum of success, but what I learned in those years reading an audience and selling myself is invaluable when it comes to sales now. Now I can turn that around and I can show other comics who want to go out, who can still work in the cities that, you know, allow people to come in. And when we get back to normal, we'll start doing comedy again. People are going to want to get out there and start spreading their comedy joy, and they just don't know how. Well, I can give you the tools. I know how to do it because I've done it. And so, yeah, it can be a hard transition. It is a hard transition because I fed off of that laughter. I loved that. You know, it's a, you know, I mean, other than the paycheck after a while, but in the beginning, the reason why you fall in love with the laughter is because you're not getting the paycheck. And then when you get the paycheck on top of the laughter, it becomes even better. And so it's still that laughter, and that's what brings you back. When you don't have that,
Yeah,
you know, it's difficult. But I don't want to sit here and complain about it, you know, because everybody's having to deal with it. We're all doing the same thing, and there's people that are successful at it. So that's why I question you. If you got a phone and you got a talent, why don't you have your own show? There's too many free things available to you. You go to you go outside of a Baskin Robbins, you got Wi-Fi. Do your show out there. If you got talent, you can carry an audience. I'm still waiting to do that here online.
I think they'll find you. It's just a matter of time. It's gonna be good.
Thank you. Why, you heard something?
Well, maybe. So one of the next cons you have, I think this is a good one. I wanted to mention it before I move on to other questions. Lebowski Con.
Oh, the Lebowski Con. Well, we've been talking with the assistant director who's been posting or giving us a lot of photos of really cool memorabilia that only he's got because he was on set with the people. Really great pictures and, of course, great stories. So we're going to gather together some people that were on the shoot, some people that love it, some people from other countries that look just like it and make their living in their country doing celebrity lookalikes. And of course, we're going to play Jeopardy based on the Big Lebowski, man. We're gonna do Say What. We're gonna do Know It All. You think you know it all about the Big Lebowski? Let's see if you can tie the room together with our hard questions on trivia. So there's all kinds of fun things that we're gonna do to bring the Big Lebowski. We've built virtual sets. You want to sit in the bowling alley where they are? I mean, you can't rent any fucking shoes, dude. You're not gonna get it a lane, but you can sit there and you can enjoy yourself on the set. You can be outside the bowling alley. Shit, we can put you anywhere. And so it's going to be just a lot of fun, a couple hours in the day that people can just kind of buy a little fun ticket for and play along and get to see and interact. Maybe you got some great stories about the Big Lebowski yourself. So we can share that, and that's what we're looking for.
What date is that?
Well, it's kind of TBA. We're dragging people together. This is the big thing that you got to transition and remember, comics, especially comics if you're watching this. This is not like trying to get people to come to your show that it's at 8 p.m. at this certain address, at this certain place where they got to get in the car and get dressed and go to this. You need to make your shit available to everyone at any time, because you have to remember there are literally billions of pieces of information and entertainment in this world online that they can choose from other than you. What makes you so special that you should get their time? Did you buy them a beer? I hope you did it with your mask on, because those days are just about over. You have to adjust, you have to adapt. And so that's kind of part of it.
I will tell you my secret. I'll message you later and I'll tell you my secrets. Because a couple of things you've said, my audience probably is tired of hearing my voice, but a couple things you said I relate to so much, especially about that last one. Like why does anyone want to watch anyone, People just assume that people are going to watch them. Like, no, they're going to watch something interesting.
I watch my boys. They're 13 and 15. My daughter, we don't let her watch anything past 1995 when it comes to Disney VHS. We still got a whole collection. But my boys, I'll sit there and I'll watch them, and they're watching Twitch, they're watching YouTube, and it's people throwing darts at other people's assholes. It's just stupid. Dropping Mentos in somebody's mouth when they, pop Diet Coke in their stomach. It's horrible, stupid cinnamon challenge shit. And I'm like, this is what entertains you. This is what is entertainment. But remember, you're talking about a generation that thinks talent is flipping a goddamn water bottle onto its bottom. This is, I don't know what to do. I've spent 20 years trying to become a stand-up comedian and get people to come to my shows. And now everything is turned upside down. And why was I trying so hard? I could have just gone full retard in my car with a Chewbacca mask. And I could have got on Ellen for that shit. Come on. No, I took the time. I bought the ticket and thought that, you know what? No, Robin Williams was right. You got to sell them tickets and get that comedy out there. Nah, you know what it is? You got to get a green screen. You got to put on some makeup and look pretty. I need makeup. Makeup.
Well, I'm gonna take that as a compliment, and think that you were saying I look pretty. So, you mentioned your kids, your 13-year-old and 15-year-old. You're filming skits with them.
Yeah, when this first started, I got to admit I don't take a lot of things too seriously. I'm a comedian. I really don't, because seriousness leads to depression. I find, there's an element of seriousness. I take things in life. The bills get paid, and there's discipline, and we love each other. But if we're not laughing, we're not happy. So there's always an element of comedy in our lives. And yeah, we do film things together. I wrote a couple of parody songs you know, it really kind of irked me when those celebrities went out there and started singing Imagine, the Marxist theme song, you know, hey, imagine if you don't have any possessions as they sit there in their mansions or in their giant gardens while they're pruning some shit because Rodrigo took a break. You know what I mean? This is, and it just irked me. And so I did my own version of Imagine, and I decided, wait a minute, what if these celebrities got to be told, don't wag your finger at us when you're sitting there molesting children on your yachts? You know, and so I did a whole thing. I don't know if you have to bleep that if you're going trying to get into Hollywood or whatever, but listen, it's evil. I did a little parody of You Got a Friend in Me called We're All in Quarantine. I played, now here's the thing. This is the thing, America. I am also a musician. So I took the music and I transposed it myself and I played it myself. I didn't use any recordings or any copywritten thing. I just played those chords, and I guess apparently they've got copyrights on that chord progression because I got dinged by YouTube every single one of my parodies. But you know what I did? I went and I brought the law on them, and I responded with, no, I've got every right to do a parody song on your song because of the First Amendment. I am allowed to make fun of what you have done, and I can do it with my own talents and my own ways. And I played it on my own keyboard, my own guitar, and my own bass, and I sang it with my own voice, and I wrote it with my own brain. So, bleh, YouTube, suck it. And guess what, Suzette? I won. Everyone. That's right. They dropped their copyright claims, and they couldn't say jack shit. So, watch my songs. Look at them on YouTube. Listen to them. Download my new album, which is coming out in just a couple weeks. You can get it through any platform. It's going to be on bunches of them. So, it's got all kinds of my good stuff.
Yes, people should watch them. And that happens, that happens a lot with me and my drag friends. We get copyright, we blocked. We played we had a drag queen on a week or two ago, and we played one of her videos, and Twitch muted like the next 10 minutes of the show. It sucked.
It's terrible. It's going to get to the point, Suzette, I almost prophesy this. It's going to get to the point where when you hum a tune to yourself walking down the street, you will then get billed by Apple or iTunes or by Amazon Music or somebody because you hummed 16 bars of some song through your head out loud.
You know, I was just saying that to a friend, I think yesterday, like how long until restaurants are charging us to listen to the music? Because the airline sure charges for everything they can.
Everything.
Oh my God.
They're like the kit cars. Remember, the old, not kit cars, the K cars. Remember the old K cars? You know, it's like, hey, you got everything except, oh, did you want a radio? Oh, okay, well, we can put a radio in there. Yeah. Oh, did you want a steering wheel? Well, that's an extra $395. Did
you want a seat, or were you just gonna squat?
Yeah. What you got is 4 wheels and a chassis. Did you want a windshield? Because we got to negotiate.
It's gonna be an extra $1,000 for the windshield.
That's it. That's all it is. But hey, this is a $100 car, brand new.
Right. Get it $100, and then the add-ons make it, $85,000. So you do have 3 kids and an amazing wife. I've met her. What's it like to do comedy with, because a lot of comedians are single and depressed and have no family. You have a great family.
Yeah, it's a young man's game, and it's a single man's game. I won't lie to you. I've been very blessed. I got a wife who's totally supportive of what I do. I got 3 kids that are really supportive of what I do. And we've turned it into a family business. In 2014, I don't know if you've seen my hashtag, Careers on Fire Tour.
I have.
It started, thank you so much. It started as a tongue-in-cheek thing. In 2014, I got on the computer and the phone, and I booked comedy gigs every 300 miles or so apart, from Eugene, Oregon, all the way to Orlando, Florida, and back. We stopped in 5 different spots. Everybody had at least $500 for us. We sold merch, and we moved on, and a hotel room, and we moved on to the next gig. Then we spent a week at Walt Disney World as a family. My son, who's now 13, celebrated his 13th birthday a few days ago, celebrated his 7th at Animal Kingdom. We then drove home and did comedy gigs the same way on a different route back home to Eugene, and came up $100 more than when we left. And I knew right then, I don't need gatekeepers. I don't need somebody telling me yes or no. And I don't need to hang out at comedy clubs all night, smoking and drinking and getting more and more depressed because I didn't get up on their potluck. I'm actually going to go be a comedian, make a living, and raise my family doing it. And we're going to spend time together. Those 3 weeks we spent together, 2 on the road and 1 at the park, was incredible. And it grew us and it built us. And we're now stronger. My kids, they come with me. They know how to sell my CDs. They know how to sell my shirts. They know how to sell my merch. They know how to talk to me and talk to other people. My son just proved that the other day. I joke around about him, you know, but he really did go out and make $70 mowing people's lawns because he knows how to talk to people, knock on their door and have the tenacity to introduce himself, make eye contact, and be clear and say, I would like to offer you this service for this amount of money and get the sale. I'm so proud of all of my kids. They know how to do that. And so a lot of comics, yeah, they're single. It's hard. It's a very narcissistic business. You're really looking out for number one. That's why, thank God, I have a beautiful wife who's not interested in being in the limelight. She's not a comic. She wants to make my T-shirts and then, you know, let me go out and do my thing. And that's helpful because we're not butting heads. We're not trying to compete for the spotlight. And, you know, like it being narcissistic and very, very one-sided, I'm looking out for me. And they, you know, they understand that I'm looking out for my career, but I'm doing that because it provides for them. And, you know, I got to say, we've been very blessed and we've had a pretty good life for somebody that doesn't have a job, stayed pretty busy, you know. And so, yeah, I just didn't allow myself to get into that depressed mode because I know that it's very easy to get down there and it's very hard to get back out. And I've been there before. So when I look at my daughter and my boys and my wife, and I look at the people that are counting on me, it gives me a lot of strength and a lot of faith to get up every day and go ahead and do and push and plug away at something I love. Because I could go out and deliver pizzas any day of the week. I'm qualified to do just about any other sales job, make somebody else rich. But I learned so many tools going out there being a comedian for 20 years. I can still sell myself. I just need to sell myself in a different way.
How are we doing on time? Because I have more questions for you, but I want to make sure you're good.
Are you asking your producer?
No, I'm asking you.
Oh yeah, no, I can probably do another 20 if you need it.
Yeah, I had more questions. I wanted to know about cruise ships. I wanted to hard 180 from family life. All of a sudden, you're finding yourself on a cruise ship. What's that like?
Well, it's exciting and heartbreaking all at the same time, because it's something that I didn't think I was ready for. I kind of saw it as like, no, I'll do that in my later years when the kids are gone, and that way I can go out with my wife. I can take her with me. And we can be gone for weeks at a time, and it's okay. But again, I got very blessed. I got picked up by Carnival, which is one of the coolest, most fun cruise ship line out there. So they let you have a lot of freedom. And I had to, I worked maybe 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes a day doing comedy. And it's a double-edged sword, of course, doing stand-up on a cruise ship. If you shit the bed, you're stuck with those people. You don't get to just go home. You're going to run into them at the buffet pulling a piece of cheesecake out, and they're going to be like, put that back, fatty. You weren't cheesecake funny tonight. You go get yourself a carrot cake, you fuck.
Yeah.
You're the star of the show. People, they want to give you compliments. If you do a good show, they want to talk to you. They want your autograph. They want to take pictures with you. I loved it. It made my head huge, and the only place I didn't want their compliments was in the bathroom. I'm in there. I'm sitting at the urinal because it's more comfortable. And this guy comes up next to me. He's got his business in his hands. He looks down at me and he goes, "Hey, you were terrific last night." Everybody looks at me and I'm like, I got his number. We'll see where it goes. But it's been a wild experience, and it kind of, I got to that echelon that I didn't know I'd make it to, and it was really exciting. And then, when everything kind of took over, it got ripped away. I'm not scared or nervous. I'm shifting gears. That's a great thing about being a comic is I can move like a flock of birds. I can do whatever I want to do. So I've got the studio. I've got, my abilities at my fingertips. I know how to sell. I'm still alive. We'll be all right. And, I'll keep the family together with it. We're just staying strong.
Do you think live comedy is going to come back at any point?
Oh, live comedy never left. I mean, yeah, they can force us to, keep our people down and make it harder for people to gather, but it's not going to die. People need it. My fear is the generation that thinks that Netflix is the classroom, and then it just goes to this, and they get their audiences out in this style, because the people that really had built themselves up first like this, they have a lot of trouble in the real life medium, you know, getting that feedback and working not just alone in a little square bubble themselves. They have to work now to other people. So it's a different game for them. It's hard to change up. I think my skills working the other way is actually going to benefit me. So, you know, will it go back? Yeah. I just hope there's a generation that doesn't forget that electricity that you need or that vibrancy, that feeling you get when you sit with other people close together and you can smell them and you can feel them and you're laughing together and you're guffawing and you're all communicating on this one idea that this guy or girl is presenting, and you're just getting with it and you're just electrified. And when they realize what that feels like and that power, no, it won't die. It'll come back strong and hard. And we're going to bring it back Lenny Bruce style in the basements with the low ceilings and the low light and undercover. And comics like me are going to get fucking arrested because we're not just going to tell jokes. We're going to tell fucking truths. And when you tell truth with comedy, that's when it hurts, because then people go, oh shit, he's right. Shut them down.
You're not wrong. Sometimes I worry about the police coming after me.
Nothing scares me more than comics censoring other comics, and I see it. You know, the thing is I'm kind of an outsider. I live in Eugene, Oregon. Nobody gives a shit about Eugene, Oregon. Hippies come here to die. It's like seagulls in the middle of the ocean. This is not a place that comedy is going to thrive, but it has, because I don't do Eugene comedy. I do comedy outside of Eugene. But what that does is it kind of ostracizes me from the cliques and the groups. I can hang out with the Sacramento comedy scene. I love all of them. They're funny dudes. Def Puppies, Carlos Rodriguez, you know, Anthony K, those cats down, you know, my boy Roman Guzman, you know, and David Shapiro, those guys in that area, love them. But I'm kind of an outsider. They'll welcome me and smoke with me, and, you know, and stuff like that. But, you know, I'm not in with the clique. And that goes with the same in the LA scene and the San Francisco scene and the Portland scene and the Seattle scene and all these other scenes, because here's the modus operandi, Suzette. I'm going to let you in on the secret. This is a recipe that nobody seems to want to look at because it's the giant fucking elephant in the room. We have got a modus operandi going on through comedy right now. And what happens is you go look at major comedy communities. It's run by the few kings and queens of the open mics that hold the lists and decide who and who cannot get on stage and say what they can and cannot say. And if they don't like what you say, and maybe these are true and some of these are not, but the allegation will generally be that they're a sexual predator. They feel uncomfortable around them. There's some sort of thing that makes them uncomfortable, that they should be ostracized from public. And generally, I'll tell you this, a lot of times it happens to the people that are generally just funnier and are progressing in writing. Because here's what happens. When somebody starts to rise above out of that little muck of the open mic scene, they want to claw them down because they can't get away from us. And if he rises up, that makes us look mediocre. So let's pull him down or cast him out of here so we can level that playing field again. And they do it, and they just rinse and repeat throughout the comedy communities. And the sad thing is we're getting not jokes, we're getting wokes. And they're coming out and telling us, you can't say that, you can't say this, you're marginalizing, you're doing that. And it's like, wait a minute, we used to call it working out material. Now you're calling it hate speech. No, the difference is it's not hate speech, it's you hate what I'm speaking. That's why you want to shut it down. We need to hear the stupid ideas. We need to hear the bad jokes. Racists, wave your flags good and long and loud, because I want to know where the fuck you are. Okay, I don't want quiet fucking racists, because those are the guys that go to the schools and shoot them up and they go, well, he was always just so quiet. Yeah, because he was seething. Let the fucking racists fly their flags. Let the fucking comics say their jokes. Let the actors do roles that are actually outside of, oh, I don't know, maybe their fucking skin color. Just a thought. And let artists be artists and stop telling us what we can and can't do in the freest fucking country in the world. Anyway, that's why we can't go to the park, sweetie.
Load your 22. So I had some questions. Oh, first off, did you see you're going to be here in Sacramento in August? Did you see what Laughs is doing right now?
I can't wait. I got to tell you, I'm nervous. I don't know. You know what I'd really like to do? I'd like to go down there the week before and just watch.
Yeah.
I want to see what works. I want to see what doesn't work. And then I want to go up, you know, because I'm going to have to read my audience. I know, but this is different. Now they're wearing headphones. It's quiet. I've done outdoor comedy before. I think, you know, I've been doing this long enough to where I at least know that my energy will carry at least a show. You know, I strive for laughs, and you can listen to my new album, Alex Elkin Retarded with Extra Steps. I strove for laughs every 4 to 6 seconds, and I got them. I got them. You're not going to find much longer than 10 seconds in my album of quiet space of me talking. It's all laughs, laughs, laughs. And I'm eager to see how people are affected with laughing with wearing their headphones. Are they going to feel kind of withdrawn? Because, you know, when you wear headphones, you're generally closing yourself off. And remember, comedy, while you want it to be tightly knit, it's got to be open. You got to be able to look at the guy next to you and go, he's right. You got to be able to adapt and relate. You have to be able to relate. And I just hope that the new technology doesn't throw people off from being relatable. I hope it doesn't create a barrier for comics. But we're comics. We're chameleons. We really are. We fit in and we adapt in just about any platform that we need to for that night. You know, when I'm working a biker bar, guess what? I got my earrings in, I got my fucking greaves on, I can put my rings on, and I'm a fucking biker that night. When I'm working the Mormon church, I'm clean as a whistle and I got my suit on and I'm just all smiles and I'm just happy to be there. So I know how to work those crowds. Working with a green light, I'm just guessing. So all you're getting is pure me. If you like it, great, follow me and we'll have a good time because I'm gonna be putting out content. If you don't like me, fine, but shut the fuck up about it. Don't go telling everybody how you don't like me. I'm not threatening anybody. I'm not trying to ruin the world. I'm just a comedian who has this urge to get this out there. Just like a painter's got to paint, actor's got to act, singer's got to sing, joker's got to joke. And so I'm going to be throwing punchlines out there and you're not going to like all of them. Not every one of them's a gem. I'll admit it. But if we aren't doing it, then who will? Who's going to show the fallacies and foibles of humanity other than the comedians? Give us the free reins to say the shit. You choose whether or not you're going to pick the wheat from the chaff, but don't cancel the fucking whole field.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're spot on. I meant to go to...
Now, Suzette, I will say there are some instances where it's fully necessary. Let's cancel that shit. I'm not a fan of sexual predators. I got a daughter. I think about her every day when I think about people taking advantage of young ladies. I think about some of the shameful shit I did as a teenager to try and get into the pants because that was the mindset. But I'm thankful that I've had a wife of 17 years whom I've tried to be faithful to as best I can, my heart, my mind, and my body, so that I know what it's like to actually give yourself over to somebody else and really sacrifice for them. And so I am not very cool or keen on the ones that are predatoring on young children and young ladies. The Chris D'Elia thing. And, I can't jive with it, you know? I mean, whether or not you're funny, that's one thing, but you're using it as, it's sick. It's sickening. Kind of made me think of this little poem that my buddy and I came up with. Because, it seems like comics really what they want is to be rock stars, you know? I mean, if you think about it, they go out there the same way, under the glitz and the glamour, the lights. They want the throngs of fans. They want that feedback and that reaction, you know? But the audience isn't there to get rocked. They're there to laugh and to relate. So really what the comedian is going for is for feedback and validation, whereas the rock star is trying to get pussy. I mean, that's, it's pretty much what the rock star is going for, right? I thought about this, that Rickles could sing like Sinatra, and Pryor could wail the blues. Dangerfield could tickle the ivories, but just between me and you, they all stayed in their own lane. They came up with their own refrains. They knew they had to stay where they are because validation's for comics, pussy is for rock stars.
Yeah, I like that. That's good. I
don't know about good, but it got done.
Just to let the audience know, in case anyone doesn't, the Laughs Unlimited Comedy Club here in Sacramento is trying silent comedy, like a silent disco, where the audience wears headphones and they can hear what the comic is saying on the microphone, and they are seated very socially distant, and they just started it. It might be the first one in the world. So we're all kind of in Sacramento. We're watching to see what happens. I meant to go last night. They had Ron Vi and Liz Stone, and I meant to go watch, but I fell asleep. Next week they have DJ Sandu, so I'll probably go watch.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how that works. Do you know, is the comic is outside with the group, right? They're not inside on stage. They're not looking at him on a screen.
No, I don't. I think they're outside with the group. I wondered if they were inside because Laughs Unlimited here. I wondered if they were inside maybe the bar area, but I think they're on the boardwalk in front, and then the audience is all in the cobblestone of Old Sacramento.
Yeah, I think it looks great, and the weather's fine for it, and it's beautiful. I've done enough comedy at wineries to where I'm not afraid of doing outdoor venues, and that's fine. Exchanging the speaker for individual headphone speakers, you know what? I think there's a lot to be done with that. There's that ASMR shit going on, ASMR, right? The where they're whispering and making noises into the microphone and stuff like that. You could really get into somebody's head. Yeah. It's you could really get into somebody's head by whispering into those things. I don't want to give shit away because that's going to be my closer, but you could maybe there's got to be ways to make it to your advantage, and that's where comics come in. We're innovators. We're funny. We make changes. We're like water. We're not going to be stopped. We'll just work around it. We have to go over this rock and hurdle. We'll do that for a little while. Eventually, the stream's going to smooth out. I always consider comedy like water. My career I've considered like a bucket of water, and I just keep putting drips in. And eventually those ripples are going to just extend out to the inside of that bucket. They're going to bounce back. And you know what? The middle of that water is going to bounce up, and I'm going to be right there when it rises up, and I can't wait. I figure I've been doing comedy 20 years. Another 15, 16, I'll be an overnight success.
That's how it works. I think you kind of echoed what I asked earlier, which was you have to adapt to the medium. And if people are wearing headphones, then you have to realize that you're not, that can be an advantage or a disadvantage. So well played, sir. Already having a tactic in mind. Few questions.
Yeah, I figure if they're not laughing by about 12 minutes in, I'm just going to scream as loud as I can into that microphone.
That's fair. I'll try to make it out.
It's like honking your horn at the drive-thru at Jack in the Box.
I'll try to be there that night without headphones in case. Just because it's coming back, a couple questions about live comedy. What's the most interesting venue that you've performed in?
Well, one night I got asked to do a room in Portland, and it turned out to be a swingers club.
Oh.
So there was a lot of nudity and a lot of sex going on. And I'd also, because it was Portland, I brought my wife because, hey, come on up to Portland. I'll take you out to dinner after the show, or I just have to do 30 minutes and they're paying me. And I brought her in, and I had to watch her the whole time. Some good looking people in that fucking room. Strange. It was strange. Nobody looked at me. Nobody had a Hagrid fetish, but my wife looks really good. So I just had to keep my club close.
Somebody likes Hagrid.
He's weird.
What do you like about doing live comedy?
Like about it? Ever since I can remember the first time ever being in front of a large group of people, getting that laughter, that feeling, that wave, that rush, that some sort of sensation that drives my ego. I don't know if mommy didn't hug me enough, or if because daddy got divorced and I was left alone at 14. I don't know what it is, but I've got this need for people to like me, and I love to make them laugh. And the power that I've found that you can wield from that is incredible. I can tell you some real stories of people that have literally driven hundreds of miles, hours and hours out of their way to get something that only apparently I've given to them that's so important. And some of the memories that I have of people that I touch their lives by going up and doing what I love. It's amazing. We talked about Maimonides earlier, about giving people the tools they need to not just eat fish, but to catch fish. I take pride in the comics that I've mentored and shown them, look, you got a phone, you got a computer, I don't care if you don't have a car. Go out and be a comedian. You want to be a comedian? Go be a comedian. Don't wait for somebody to call you. You call them and make it happen. And the tools that I gave them, you know, I'm not patting myself on the back, but it feels good to let somebody out and go and, hey, go on, go make money for you and go pay your bills on the tools that I gave you. I'm not asking for anything in return, but maybe one day when you get really good at it, go tell somebody else how to do it. You know?
Do you wanna drop some names?
I don't know if you know Mike Betancourt out of Northern California.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Betancourt, had a conversation with him. In fact, he wrote me a really nice letter of recommendation endorsing me, telling me that, you know, the tools that he got from me have opened the doors to him. He started doing his own shows. He started doing his own podcast, which is gaining traction and momentum. And it was because of the encouragement that I gave him, letting him know, you keep waiting for that director and that audition for to work out because you're waiting for somebody else to validate you. You're a comedian. You're an artist. You're validated. Your phone validates you. Your Facebook page validates you. And the fact that you just said that you want to do it and that's who you said you are, I don't know if you know about that, Suzette, but you know what? Your identity and who you say you are is pretty damn important. So if you want to go out there and tell people you're a comedian, then you go out there and you go and do it. And you just go do it. And with those tools, yeah. Another guy out of Northern California, Astoria, I believe his name, Dustin Wood. Dustin Wood. First time ever on the road. First time he'd ever seen the ocean was with me, and I took him on a 3-day run. Hotels, casinos, basic shit for any comic that's done, you know, regular stuff. But I booked it all myself, and I showed him and taught him how to do it. And here's a kid that's been dealing with a horrible disease where he's losing his teeth, and he's starting to look like a meth addict, and he's clean as a whistle, and he's just a nice kid who's really funny and writes a lot. And he wants to be a stand-up comic so bad. And you know what? He just needed somebody to tell him, you are not your disease. You are not what other people tell you. You don't have to be a victim. You don't have to let other people tell you that you couldn't get your driver's license. Go get your driver's license, use your car, and take yourself out and be a comedian. Go take your phone and your computer and your sensibilities and sell yourself. You got jokes? Go tell them somewhere else. And now he wrote a letter to me the other day saying, I've been paying my bills on comedy during a pandemic because it can be done. It hasn't stopped. The world hasn't stopped.
No, not at all.
You know, Hollywood hasn't stopped. It's even better for us comics now. People like Macy's, people like Tiffany's, people like the high-end clients that were looking at animations and going, oh, please, they would never soil our good name by putting a cartoon behind it. Yeah, well, guess what now, fuckers? You can't get a big production together with a lot of human beings because they get sick. So guess what you need? Voiceover actors. That's where comics come in. Because, of course, we do all the voices. What, you need a French person that can do whatever you want. Whatever you need, I'm there. And now we're the important ones. Now we're holding the gates and the keys and everything because we've got the internet and we've got powerful tools like this Twitch channel, YouTube, Facebook, all the places that people are. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if of course you've realized this. You seen Jimmy Fallon lately? Mm-hmm. You seen Jimmy Kimmel? You seen all those cats? You seen Noah, fucking Trevor Noah? Mm-hmm. They're all doing the same shit we're doing. They're doing it in a fucking hoodie. They're doing it in their basement. They're doing it with fucking 2 guys or maybe not even any guys and running a fucking show. Guess what? The playing level field is fucking sea level right now. You want to be Jimmy Fallon? You could be Jimmy Fallon because guess what? I just watched his shit show last night or Friday night. Come on. Johnny is rolling over in his fucking grave. Don't even tell me what Jack Parr's doing. Are you kidding me? That fucking Tonight Show is last night. Blah.
I will say before I started this show, I watched Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel, and I was like, oh wow, the pacing on everything they're doing is, what else is happening? And it was Seth Meyers, and I was like, oh, that's good pace. And I guess maybe because of Saturday Night Live, but his pacing when he was doing his monologue was just pop, pop, pop.
Yeah. So, it's a tough transition. And keep in mind, these are coddled comedians. They used to, I mean, even some of them though, Stephen Colbert, yeah, he was a Second City guy. Mm-hmm. You know, he was a Groundlings dude. He wasn't out there doing stand-up comedy. That grind is different. And that grind hardens you in a different way and calluses you in a different way because you have nobody else to rely on. On an improv show, everybody else falls apart. then you get to be the hero. Guess what happens if everything falls apart on a stand-up comedy show? You are the fucking bum. Nobody likes you. No cheesecake for you, fatty. Go back to your fucking cabin.
With carrot cake.
There's nothing you can do about that. And that's the way the fucking ball rolls in stand-up comedy versus, like comedic theater acting. And it really sets us apart. And I think the thick-skinned comics, they're going to pull through because, hey, we were answering to nobody before it was cool.
We'll see. What is your favorite city for comedy?
My favorite city for comedy? It's got to be Sacramento, August 28th through the 30th. Love that city. Beautiful downtown Sacramento, J Street. That's where I'm hanging out. Love the food, love the fuel, love the momentum, love the people, the music, everything about it. Northern California, there's a reason it's called the Golden State.
Well, that's exciting. Hopefully we can get a crowd out for
Other
you.
than that, Tulsa's pretty good. I like Tulsa, I guess. No, I'm kidding.
Tulsa. Steak. Are there any cities, you don't have to answer this, are there any cities you are not in a hurry to go back to?
Yeah, Eugene, Oregon. Not in a hurry at all.
Fair enough.
In fact, I'd like to get the fuck out. I think right now they're waiting for the sun to go down so they can burn down a Jimmy John's and steal a gallon of goddamn mayonnaise for Black Lives Matter. Are you kidding me? This is horse shit.
Well, at least if it's Jimmy John's, the owner is, he kills a lot of, animals, so.
It's a black-owned Jimmy John's.
Oh, well, that complicates it. Is there anything I wasn't smart enough to, before we go into rapid fire, because I always finish my interviews with rapid fire, is there anything I wasn't smart enough to bring up that you'd like to talk about?
No, I think we covered it all. Let's fire it away.
Okay. If you ever come back on the show, I had questions about TV acting. So I wanted to save something just in case you had fun. There's something left. Okay. Alex Elkin, are you ready for rapid fire questions?
I am ready.
Okay. If you were doing a show tonight, what would your walk-up song be?
Come on, you want to get down with the sickness? Come on, you want to get down with the sickness? Ooh, ah. Maybe.
That's fair. Yeah, that's a good one. What is your favorite show to perform in?
My favorite show to perform in?
Mm-hmm. Like a regular show, like a recurring one. Or just a one-time show that you did and you were like, wow, that was fun.
Oh, okay. Let's see. You know what? I really liked that backyard show I did where I recorded my album. I did. It was still intimate while being, safe. And, getting down and talking to the real people of a small town like that, best time in the world because they treat you like a goddamn star.
Okay, this might have just answered it, but what's your favorite venue to perform in?
My favorite venue to perform in?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, it's got to be any major comedy club in the country. The reason why is because you cannot fail there.
Good answer.
If you fail at a major comedy club, there's something wrong with you or you're on horrible drugs. Because it is like, you do all the work out in the shit bars and the clubs and the chicken wire, people throwing beer bottles at you and fights out in the parking lot and all that bullshit you go through at a regular, nasty one-nighter or even the D rooms that you do. Man, getting into an improv, the Ice House, Laugh Factory, or a Zanies or a Looney Bin, a major club. Oh my God, it's just gravy because, you've been expecting me. I'm sorry, it's okay to tell jokes.
It's very much like, they came wanting to laugh. Wow. Sometimes you just smile and they laugh.
Oh, you paid for this. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good answer. What's the funniest thing an audience member has ever said to you after a show?
Okay, that happened in Seven Feathers Casino in Winston, in Oregon. It's off exit 99. It's really there. I got off stage, and I'm selling one of my first CDs, and this lady was telling me, this was the middle of summer, and she goes, I'm just here visiting my daughter. I had to move to the Midwest. I couldn't take it out here in Oregon. so many. She said something. She goes, it's all the black guys.
In Oregon?
And I said, in Oregon? She said, oh, it's incredible. Every winter, black ice here, black ice there. And I realized, oh, you're saying black ice. You racist bitch. You had me going there. You horrible I was, anyway. So yeah, that was probably one of the funniest, I think, that anybody's ever said to me afterwards.
Who is your favorite comic?
My favorite comic? Oh man, Brian Regan, hands down. He always tops the list. Clean as a whistle. He's, it's like nobody's heard of him, but he can fill up a stadium in any city in the country, and he can go shopping and nobody bothers him. And he lives and he's a comic. What a great life. And he's just super funny. And if you ask Jerry Seinfeld, Patton Oswalt, Sinbad, the top comics today, who their favorite comic is, hands down, they'll tell you Brian Regan. So I agree.
I accidentally met him, and he was so nice.
and
I was
I know, what a dick, right?
Yeah,
all that cool, everything. Andy's fucking nice.
Yeah,
fuck that guy.
I bet he can cook too. Who's your favorite comic that you've worked with?
Favorite comic that I've worked with? Me, because I'm the only one that gives a shit if I make any money. No. Let's see. Favorite comic that I've worked with? It was probably Ralphie. Because I was young and he really kind of showed me the ropes. He fucking gave me a chewing out one night after I went over the light, and I learned my lesson. And I don't go over the light, and it's important to me, and it should be important to other comics that you don't fuck with the light. And his business ethic and his work ethic and his family fucking heart and his loving for barbecue and smoking like I do. I just, although while he was alive, I got to say we weren't great friends. I worked with him for a few months, opening for him, going here and there and learning from him. We weren't close. We weren't like Corey and Chad. I wasn't like one of his guys, But he knew my name. He invited me into the party bus when he came through town. But what I learned from him, what I gleaned from him about comedy, who he in turn gleaned from greats like Kinnison and that whole roundup. I'm appreciative of that. So I got to say he's probably my tops.
What's your least favorite children's show?
Least favorite children's show?
Mm-hmm. As a parent.
CNN. No, least favorite children's show as a parent. You know what I hate is that Bubbles, something in Bubbles on PBS. It's like this. It's like a Muppet Show, but it's all computer animated.
Oh,
and the voices are just annoying as shit. And anything actually, most of the shit on PBS Kids. I love Curious George. That it's got a special place in my heart. Okay, but anything after Curious George really is just obnoxious as fuck. Okay, I don't want to go anywhere with Daniel Tiger. Okay, I miss Mr. Rogers, and if I'm going to ride on the trolley, I want to go to Make Believe Land, and I don't want to go to the fucking library. Okay, I don't want to go to the dentist's office, and I don't want to bring home a new little sister. I want to go sing King Friday, and I want to go see what the fuck is up in Make Believe Land. So stop trying to shit on my face and telling me it's chocolate pie.
Why can't they just?
I don't like that one show with the dinosaurs. The dinosaur train. Dinosaur train. Dinosaur. They got these little pterodactyl kids, and one of them has got like Down syndrome or something. It's like, God damn it, don't do that. You know what I mean? You're making. I mean, he's got the stupid underbite, and he's always let's go drown ourselves. And some stupid. This is PBS Kids. If you want to include them, put the pterodactyl in a goddamn wheelchair. Let's be inclusive, okay? Let's see a transadactyl. How about that? You want to go all out? Put your balls on the line, PBS. It's the public balls system.
They could re-air
Also,
Mr. Rogers.
I'm not a big fan of the Guys Grocery Games. I like Triple D, but I just don't really dig the game show aspect.
Fair enough. What's your favorite kids show?
My favorite kids show?
Yeah,
Beanie and Cecil, which I don't know if you've ever heard of, but it's from the 1950s. It's a Bob Clampett cartoon. You can look at him on YouTube. Funny, adult humor. I mean, not gross, but adult humor for kids. clever and amusing. And then, you show me anything from Walt Disney from 1928 to 1980, 85 maybe. And I'm down with that. Warner Brothers, love it all. Children's cartoon. But today, I don't know. It's all a bunch of blobby characters on computer, and they just yell at each other all day long. If there's one cartoon that actually makes me laugh, it's probably The Amazing World of Gumball. Because those are they're funny cartoons. The problem is my kids will turn them on at 6 in the morning, and all they're doing is yelling at each other. Everybody's screaming. Nobody can talk in a regular voice. And it's you know what? If I wanted to listen to The View, I'd watch The fucking View.
Yeah, not a parent, so I don't have to deal with that. This is a new rapid fire question, and usually I ask drag queens or single comics. You are a married comic, so you don't have to answer if you don't want to. What's your favorite?
I was comic before I was single.
What's your favorite sex position?
My favorite sex position?
Mm-hmm.
With the bowl of ice cream on my tummy afterwards.
Good answer.
That's a married guy answer.
Do you cook or bake?
Both. But
Oh.
mostly I smoke. I smoke and I grill. I smoke and cure my own brown sugar bourbon bacon. You can see my video on YouTube on how to do it yourself at home. I smoke my own meats. We do our own in-house, grilling and all that stuff. I love doing that. I like making my own rubs. I like using different woods. I like watching it. I like the offset. I don't use pellets or electric stoves. That's cheating. And you know it, fuckers. You know it. I like to get out there and cook with fire, especially on holidays. We got everybody over, and I'm smoking a bird outside. Sorry, I can't talk to you, Aunt Jenny. I got to go check my bird. Got to make sure that temperature's up. I'll be out back. So it's a lot better for me that way. I love to bake, love to cook. Made pancakes with my boys this morning and showed them how to make a perfect flapjack.
They're going to be adults soon, making money, making flapjacks.
Tell me about it.
If we are at the bar after a show, you and me, and someone wants to buy us shots, what are they buying?
For me, I'll take a bit of the Jameson. I like a bit of the whiskey of the Irish creature myself.
Okay.
Seems like you, though, you'd be taking a bit of the Fireball. That seems a bit cinnamon and spicy with you. I think so, right?
Yeah.
Right. And I bet you spell cinnamon with an S.
Only if I'm stripping. So when I ask that question, I always just assume that I'm drinking what you're drinking. But yeah, you got me. I don't tell people that because that's how you make a sloppy Suzette is with Fireball. It's dangerous.
Oh, I had a sloppy Suzette once at Walt Disney World in the French restaurant. It was
Oh.
delicious. Don't believe me? Ask the dishes.
If someone's buying us drinks, what are we drinking?
If somebody's buying us drinks, what are we drinking? Well, me, I'm just going to take a beer because I don't need nothing with an umbrella, and I don't want it to be any color other than,
Beer colored.
brown.
Okay.
For you, I think an appletini, probably. For the lady, an appletini with a straw. Don't give me that frou-frou shit, make her drink out of a glass. Look at that makeup she put on. Don't be an asshole.
Actually, a Cosmo, but close.
Cosmo?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Very close. Toilet paper. This is important, Alex. Toilet paper, over or under?
Oh, give me a fucking break. Over, 2-ply, and I'd prefer a bidet.
Do you know how I've had 2 or 3 people in the last couple weeks that said, I don't care either way. And I am appalled.
They need to be reported.
I really
You need to get on Facebook and report them right now.
Really? Like, how can you not have you can have the wrong opinion and I'm not as mad as no opinion.
Yeah, you look, when you're talking about issues of the ass, you don't get to be indifferent. Okay? There's 2 cheeks for a reason. You need to pick a side. You can't just ride down that crevasse of life, sticking around in the little brown eye of incongruity. You need to stand up
And make
Fight.
a choice. Yeah.
Are you over or are you under?
I'm over all day, every day.
I'm over it. In
Angel-
fact,
angel
it's
soft.
It's a paddling. In my house, the boys take care of the bathrooms, and if it's under when I get in there, it's a paddling.
That corporal punishment works in Oregon. Do you have a
No,
favorite?
I just make them do laps in the lake.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
we don't-
That kind of paddling. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite drag queen?
A favorite drag queen. Do I? Oh, Divine? Oh, Divine from Hairspray. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's a
Divine.
good one.
Yeah.
Okay. Until I started looking into Network One, I didn't know that you love Disney so much. So I brought this question back. I retired it because do you know Chelsea Bierce?
I'm familiar. Very funny comedian.
Really funny. One of my favorite people. It's a 2-part question, and she destroyed the question so bad that she said you have to retire it now. And I said, okay. So I only bring it out in special moments.
So a mic drop Disney. Now I worked at the park, so you're dealing with a pro here.
Okay. We can ask a lot of Disney questions. Maybe we'll save more Disney questions for next time if you want to come back. But this 2-part Disney question, if you were a Disney character, usually I say Disney princess. So if you want to go that route, you can pick a princess or you can pick any character. Who would you be?
If I could be any character?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, I'd be Winnie the Pooh. Are you kidding me?
Not if you could, if you were. Which Disney character are you?
Oh, which Disney character am I right now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Probably Turk from Tarzan. I'm interested in kind of instigating shit. I sit around, I eat, I look at my navel a lot. I'm indecisive, but I know what's wrong with you and what you ought to do.
Good answer. Okay. And then if I was a Disney princess, which princess would I be?
If you were a Disney princess, which princess would you be? Well, that's a tough one because there's a lot of, now we're getting into the realm of what a Disney princess is. My God, you could be a Leia for all you know.
No. Classic Disney princesses.
Classic Disney?
Yeah.
All right, if we're talking classic Disney, it's got to be Sleeping Beauty. And I'll tell you why. Because you get enough beauty rest and you'll end up looking like you do, my dear Suzette. Gorgeous, top to bottom.
Alex Elkin. That is the sweetest thing anyone's ever said to me. Okay, finally, if you could, once this is all over, I think I know what your answer is going to be, but once this is all past us, pandemic's over, no restrictions, we can all just go back to normal, what are you most excited to do?
Oh, I can't wait to get on stage and bomb again.
I mean,
just shit the bed hard.
How often does that happen to you?
Oh, man.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what? It'll be more often than not when I get back because I think I'm going to be pretty rusty. But I'm going to be doing some practicing well before I get to Laughs Unlimited, August 28th through the 30th in Sacramento. I'll tell you that, Suzette.
On Front Street in Old Sacramento. Well, that's where people can find you live and in person. And until then, they can find you on Network One and they can find you at alexelkin.com, right?
Yes, they can. I'm
Okay.
also followable on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Of course, they banned me for a week on YouTube because some bullshit. I don't know.
Well,
I think I didn't. I don't know. I don't know what I did.
if you ever figure it out and want to come back, that's a story for next time.
We'll rant about it.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Your information's below you, so if anyone wants to send you some coin or follow you on Instagram, that's how they can do it. Thank you so much,
tell you,
Alex.
the kids would really appreciate it. The NyQuil really comes in handy, folks. So if you could Venmo or PayPal. And remember, if you want, include your address, and I'll send you my brand new CD, recorded live, signed. And there's only a few copies left. I'm only doing 100 hard copies, and then I release it online very soon, and then you can only get it digitally.
There you go. I can't wait to message you and see you in person in like a month. Thank you so much for coming on. You're great, and I love you.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
All right. Good night.
Good night. Peers and Queers, Alex Elkin. You can find him, like I said, Network One, Alex Elkin Comedy, alexelkin.com. And you can find him here in Sacramento on August 28th through the 30th. We still good on time? Yeah, okay, cool. We'll bring on our regular end of the show. We always put him there in case we don't want to do him. David Shapiro, can you hear me, David? Are you there?
Hey, Suzette.
Hey, what are we talking about today?
Well, I had it narrowed down to a discussion on anti-Semitism, a discussion about sexual harassment with regards to the Washington football team. The Washington football team, the Toronto Blue Jays being displaced and possibly playing the rest of their home games in your hometown of Pittsburgh, and then the civil unrest and police brutality that's happening in Portland.
Oh, a lot of heavy stuff. So what are we going to talk about?
I think we should talk about how someone can still be happy and depressed at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah. Another day, another topic. We can always come back to it.
Yeah. Well, you would have made me
I
happy
don't know
talking
much
about
about
Pittsburgh.
so I wanted to talk about something I know about.
Oh. Like what?
Yeah, to my topic. So I think the shirt does a great job of kind of explaining how you can be... A depressed person can feel all of these things. You can feel happy and awesome and tired and still depressed. That's not an emoji, but you can still feel depressed. Last week, a medical professional asked me if I've ever tried to be happy. Well, Suzette, I'm happy most days. I mean, that's just reality. That doesn't mean I'm not depressed.
Explain.
I have great friends, amazing parents, a brother that I couldn't be more proud of and love more. I get to work on things and be creative with my friends, and try to make a difference in the world with art. I have 2 amazing pugs. I have 1 amazing pug, and then I have 1 senile, incontinent, blind, deaf sweetheart of a pug. That is a lot of work and patience, but I love her. I've traveled the world. I've had so many experiences. I'm actually happy.
So like
Even
right
in this
now?
moment, yeah, I get to help you with your show. I get to work with great people.
And still depressed, happy and depressed.
But I'm still depressed, right? Because having depression doesn't mean I'm incapable of being happy.
Well, what does it mean to be depressed if it doesn't mean that you're not happy?
You know, I'm not a medical professional, and I'm not a mental health professional at that. But there's something wrong with my brain, right? That keeps me depressed, no matter what. Yeah. There's a gross misunderstanding that people that suffer from... There's a gross misunderstanding of people that suffer mental health maladies. People think that we don't want to be happy, or they question if we've ever tried, which is ridiculous.
Why?
Well, a lot of times people will say that I must want to feel this way. I must want to be depressed. Or that I enjoy being depressed, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. I don't like feeling like this. No. I want to be happy. I want to enjoy life. It's just not as easy as that for depressed people. And that's why it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Maybe the second.
What's the first?
Well, when people say just pretend to be happy, like, can you imagine an oncologist telling someone with renal cell carcinoma, like, just pretend you don't have it. It'll go away. Like, they'd be fired. Right. So I want to talk about that. I wanted to revisit talking about mental health and depression. You did that with Apple a couple episodes, and I just kind of was feeling talking about that.
Oh, okay.
Being happy does not mean one is not depressed. In fact, sometimes being happy makes your depression worse.
Like what?
Well, so that's how broken my brain is. Sometimes after a really great day or accomplishing something that I really was hoping would go well, and it does, I feel like there's nowhere to go but down.
Okay.
Yeah. See, happy people just don't understand depressed people.
Go on.
Depressed people understand depression and the depths of it, but happy people, well, like you'll never understand what depression truly feels like, and that's good. I don't want happy people to understand what depression feels like. I mean, it'd be nice if there was some empathy coming from them about it, but I wouldn't wish depression on anybody. I just don't want to be held to a happy person's standard of not being depressed, if that makes sense.
I think so. Yeah.
And I don't want to be held to the happy person standard of what's normal for my mood.
Well, what would it look like if depressed people recreated the mental health care system?
If depressed people were to recreate the mental health system, that's a great thought. I don't know what that would be like, but it would probably be a lot kinder and more gentle on people that suffer from depression.
Okay, well, you should do something about it.
We are starting a dialogue about it, and that is something. That is something, I hope.
Okay, well, you started it.
I'm tired. I'm gonna go to sleep now.
Oh, lucky you.
I'm emotionally drained from this past week, from today. Great show.
Thanks for coming on. Get some rest, and don't forget to vote
Will
for
do.
Jesse on SNR.
Thank you for the reminder.
Yeah.
Good night, Suzette.
Night, David. Okay, he's a downer. Any comments? No? Okay, cool. Then clean show for us. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Thank you to Alex Elkin and Mean Dave and David Shapiro. We'll be back next week on August 2nd at 7 p.m. and hopefully have a great guest for you. And I think you'll like it. So check it out about 7:03. We'll see you next week.
You were a problem child, been grounded your whole life, so now you run wild. Playing with them good girls, no, that ain't your style. You think you're hot shit, ooh, I love it, yeah, yeah. Stumbling, but yeah, you're still looking hella fun. Keep doing what you're doing, and we'll make
Did I mess up?
the city's your playground. I watch you take a bite. At 5 a.m. roaming the streets, drunk all night. You think you're hot shit, and ooh, I love it, yeah, yeah. Stumbling, but yeah, you're still looking hella fun. Keep doing what you're doing, and we'll make you mine. Hot mess, and I'm falling for you.
All right, folk, if you're still hanging out, let's send you over to our friend Danotage.
When it's not worth dying
See what he's up to.
Does
And
it
we'll
take
see you tomorrow.
your
Tomorrow morning,
breath
I'll be in the
away
office. Hopefully you'll
and
join
you
me.
feel yourself
Everybody go enjoy Dan.
suffocating? Does
Everybody
the
pile in.
pain weigh out the
There we are.
pride?
Any more? Any more coming?
For a place
Well,
to hide.
I'm going to send it over right now. Thanks for joining us.
Someone break
Good night.
your heart inside, you're in ruins. 121 guns.